All right. I believe we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Elizabeth Galprin coming to you live on Facebook. I don't often go live in my personal profile, but I have an amazing guest today, and I want his insight and his story to be shared with everyone. So very excited to introduce the world to Jaipal Singh. He is a friend and a client, a fellow networking partner of mine, and the principal architect and founder of Chaatrik Architecture. And Jai and I are going to talk today just a little bit about the experience of working together. I get a lot of questions about, like, what is it like to work with a business productivity coach? And then I want to give Jaipal the opportunity to talk a little bit about productivity and productive environment through the lens of an architect, because I think it adds a lot of richness to the topic and all the things that I do in my day-to-day work. If anybody is on Facebook Live and wants to ask questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. I will do my best at the end to go back and field those questions. I don't want to get distracted looking at them while he and I are talking, but drop your comments in there. If we have time, we'll answer them live. And if we run out of time, I know that Jaipal and I will both take a couple minutes to go in and answer any questions that folks have. So Jaipal, welcome to Facebook Live.
Thank you. Hello, world.
Have you done a live before?
I'm sure I've done a live a
Okay.
few times over the years, but
Yes.
I'm not a regular Facebook liver. This is very exciting. I'm very honored and humbled to join you here, Elizabeth. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I'm going to give people a little bit of an introduction of you and your work, but then I want you to fill in the details because I will only scratch the surface. So Jaipal and I met it's been almost exactly 2 years since we met and started working together. Jaipal founded his company a couple of years ago. And when we first started working together, your business was very much like you were wearing all the hats. You definitely had team members that you outsourced work to, but you were definitely kind of at the beginning stages of ready to grow and really wanting to make sure that you did that with a strong foundation. And that was kind of the premise of us getting started and working together. So Jaipal also at that time had just gotten married, right? And so he and his wife were kind of figuring out life as newlyweds. And it was right before COVID. So we had not yet been locked into our homes and offices, but it was definitely on the precipice of that. Jaipal is not only the founder and owner of an architect firm, but he's a community leader. So I'll let you share as much or as little as you want about this, Jaipal. But Jaipal has a lot of leadership roles in the Cincinnati community and also in the Sikh community. And so his familiarity and his comfort level with being a leader was absolutely there. But being a leader in your own company was kind of something that we were getting started having you step into. So fast forward 2 years later, we are still working together. We are growing his business. We'll talk about that. My role has definitely expanded to helping not just Jaipal, but his team members to be productive personally, but then to create a productive, efficient business that keeps your values, your core values, top of mind. So what else would you like to add to kind of the intro of what people need to know about you?
Oh man, I think you did a great job. I think one of the, just sort of thinking back and reflecting, you really helped me, or working with you really helped me grow beyond thinking of myself as an architect. And stepping into the role of architect entrepreneur, architect businessman, architect leader, right? Architect sort of, where architect was part of what I was doing, but the main focus was actually pushing beyond the day-to-day grind of what architecture is. And I think then, for any business individual, whatever your sort of technical expertise is, whatever your niche is and your profession is, all of these sort of general principles that you promote as peak productivity and as a coach, they work. They universally, they really do. And I think I've been incredibly impressed with your ability to apply various concepts in various situations and various circumstances that, it's not, you are absolutely not like a one trick pony, as they say, right? I mean, you have so many, like a true depth of knowledge. Whereas if I just may speak bluntly for a second, there's a lot of coaches and a lot of sort of, people are an expert at everything these days. And I really found early on that, we started working together about 2 years ago, but I knew you May of 2019, I think, is when I think we met.
Yeah.
And so it took me about 6 months to really say, you know what, Elizabeth knows her stuff, and I really need to be surrounded with individuals like Elizabeth. And the one phrase, I think I told you about this, the one phrase that caught me is you said, if you think yourself as a peak performer, ... And I don't remember what you said after that, but I was like, yeah, I do, sign me up. I want to make sure that, others see me that way as well. As I continue to, whatever success means, but I continue to do that. So kind of more about you than me, but that's okay.
Well, that's okay. You can shine the spotlight on me too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of the growth that you've experienced and that your business has experienced. So again, one of my goals with every client, regardless of whether they are at the very beginning of a business or they've been in business for 10 years, or they're stepping into a new, role, is to look at things like it's the whole 360, right? So a company can't be productive unless the leader is productive, and the leader can't be productive unless the company is productive. So for me, it's like we have to address things from both angles. And so maybe talk a little bit about, I've seen, amazing growth for sure. But I would rather come from you than from me, a couple of examples of what you think has made the biggest difference just for you personally. And then in terms of the business and how, the focus that we've had on systems and processes and habits, how you feel like that's made the biggest impact for you in the business.
Yeah, so you alluded to the timeliness of all of this success coinciding with getting married to Assis, right? And all of that is absolutely true. And I think it speaks to the fact that you're not just about the business, but you're about the holistic person. And, right away in our first conversations, you were, asking, well, why is that? Well, what's going on? And we dig deeper and deeper. And right away, the first sort of step was, if you want to grow as an individual professionally, you need to grow as an individual personally as well. And, I was saying all these things, and you were saying, I have a lot of leadership experience in my years, and I do, but taking that forward into the professional world, taking that forward and saying, all right, I'm going to double down on all these things that I believe in, all these sort of characteristics and traits, and being genuine was absolutely important. And that then translated into organization of space, right? Making sure the office was not cluttered, right? and one of your early sessions, Clear the Clutter, just help reinforce good habits. Just sort of, I would say very, very little of it, I don't mean this in a bad way, was like new. It was just reinforcing habits that we all know and just sort of need to practice and need to sort of say, all right, this is important in order to make me productive. So little tools, Google Calendar became my best friend very quickly. And to this day, that's the one thing. If I can get my calendar under control and organized and set up and clear out blocks of time, that's what I mean, blocks of time, then I feel like I'm top of the world. I feel like I can handle anything, any task, and as an architect, we're constantly juggling multiple things on multiple scales in multiple stages. And so having a sense of order in your space, having a sense of order in your calendar, a sense of order with your paperwork, your filing, systems of where things going. I mean, you were asking the little questions of like, all right, when you get a contract, when you get an email, when you get a check, like what happens from there? What's your system? And things that I was just kind of doing routinely, you highlighted as saying, okay, well, that's now your system. And let's either lock that down, lock that in as your system, or let's refine it and improve it. And maybe here's another tool that we can use. Here's another sort of thing that might help. And, we've tried a lot of things that maybe didn't fit or didn't work. And then we found a lot of things that have been incredibly helpful for not just me, but then the team as well. And then that's just helped, really grow the firm past me as an individual, past Jai Paul as the architect. It is now Chaatrik Architecture, the team. And now, we even throw phrases out like there's the Chaatrik way of doing things. And when you talk about values and mantra and like that sort of stuff, then when we say the Chaatrik way, then there's like, that means something on many levels.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I would say that's probably for sure one of the biggest changes. And it can be hard when you're growing your business because it's your baby, you started it. And there's a lot of things that we naturally from the start think of it as mine. And, for a while it was just you, same with me. And so that's been a big piece of saying, well, this is working for you, Jai Paul, but now we have employees and we have a handful of employees, but soon it's going to be, 2 handfuls of employees. And so getting you to look at things of how is this going to work, not just for me, but it's going to work for the existing team and it's going to work for the future team of Chaatrik.
Yeah. And I would say just conversations with you through our sessions, which they feel like conversations more than sessions. Is the one reason that I've stuck around is because it's we've built I would say friendship more than just you're my business coach, right? It's like did I cut out? Are you there? Oh, let me make sure my connection is clear. Are we good connection wise?
Yeah, we're there. I think you muted out for just a minute, but we're back.
Let me switch to my hotspot for just a sec and then it'll be absolutely solid.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, how's that?
Perfect. That's great.
Okay. All right. So well, let's just pick it up from wherever we were.
Yeah. So so this is something you and I have certainly talked about. I feel like it's been a while since we've talked about it. So one of the guiding principles for you and the work you do and your team and your business is, creating beauty, inspiring beauty, right? And creating this experience through design and architecture and the interiors, all of that. And one of the things that I was trained in is to have a definition of a productive environment. So my definition through my training was always creating an intentional setting where you can accomplish your work and enjoy your life. And so that obviously can be applied to our office, but it's also our homes and anywhere else where we're trying to make an impact, do work, be of service, and also still enjoy living. So how would you define productive environment, like through your lens of an architect? What would you add to that as people are thinking about how do I, so many people now are working sometimes at home, sometimes at the office, sometimes they're in the car. And so creating an intentional environment to get work done and to enjoy being in that space, I think it's becoming more and more challenging in some ways. So what would you add to that idea of creating a productive environment, whether it's professionally, personally, or both?
So, I mean, I think your general sort of dimensions of a space, the physical parameters, all that stuff is sort of obvious in many ways. I think that's sort of the thing, make sure it feels right that way. But what I focus on, and then what our firm focuses on, how I take that question, I immediately go to the ephemeral, to the intangible, to, truly, what does the space feel like? What are the colors that are evoked? What is the mood that you get when you walk in? And those things can come from the proper lighting. It can come from, like when I say proper lighting, that means in my book, artificial lighting. Yeah. So is it overhead? Is it indirect? Is it task lighting? Different types of things. So like a really cool desk lamp can go a long way for your desk, Yeah. A nicely or a intentioned, like as you said, positioned floor lamp or ceiling light can go a long way. But then what are the things that maybe you love doing? If you're an outdoors person, you love sunlight, you love air, you love that, then, is there a window close by? Is there a view, that either you're looking out to nature, or you're looking out to the sky, or, I actually am sitting right now in a basement office. And one of the reasons it works is because if you can kind of see, there's a window right to my left here. And I can just kind of gaze out and daydream if I need to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can tell what time of day it is without having to look at a clock. I can kind of sense the world around me happening. And that allows me to stay in my office a lot longer. It doesn't feel like I'm in an office, doesn't feel like I'm cooped up.
Yeah.
Acoustics are a huge deal. I'm a musician, so I'm always thinking about how things sound and the way that, so, can I crank up my music when I want to and not disturb others? Can I just like rock it out when I'm in the zone? Or if I need to be quiet, is it quiet around me? Those sorts of things. So for me, it's all about, when we say inspire beauty and deliver excellence as Chaatrik architecture, we are intentionally trying to build a better world, a more beautiful world, a more just world as well. But, something that is going to inspire and uplift everybody wherever they are. And I think so much of that comes from the ephemeral, the intangible elements.
Yeah. 100%. I know that, a lot of times when we're talking about productivity, and I talk about how the outside is going to impact the inside, meaning your brain, and vice versa, there can sometimes be the idea of like, well, it can be a little bit of an afterthought, right? Well, I'm just working in, this tiny little room because it's where it's quiet. Okay, so it's checking the box maybe in one element. But then when you say, well, when you walk, one of the questions I love to ask, when you walk into your office, is it uplifting or does it bring you down, right? And sometimes you can't put, the client might not necessarily know exactly why it is, but it's like, oh yeah, no, my energy goes down, right? And maybe it's the physical clutter, but maybe it's, I know for me, if I don't have a window, I'm not going to last long. And luckily, I have the ability to position myself right by a window. But yeah, it's, sometimes it's a matter of you kind of have to dig and peel the layers of the onion to figure out what is it that's going to make your environment inspire you. But I think you're right. It's certainly not just, oh, I have a, comfortable chair or a luxurious desk. Those are nice, but it is a lot of the intangibles that really make or break the space. And so, I think both of us are on the same page that you can't ignore the space in which you live, the space in which you work, if you're working on reaching your potential, being a peak performer. So I think it's definitely a shared priority for you and I.
Yeah, I mean, I've got old doors that are painted on IKEA legs. I mean, it's the most
Yep.
simple sort of office setup,
Mhm.
but the reason it works is because I have a lot of space, physical space.
Yes.
And so even if in the moments, dare I say, when it gets cluttered physically, because there's a lot of drawings or paperwork everywhere,
Yeah.
it never gets me down. It always feels inspiring when I walk in here. It always feels like, all right, I'm at work now. I'm ready to get
Yeah.
down to business.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone can see you've also strategically put some inspiring images around. And I know sometimes you're like, well, it's also for my audience, but do you also feel like looking at that's some of your actual design work? Does that also remind you of like the work you're doing, the impact you have, the creativity that exists inside of you?
Yeah, and it helps position my head centered of the screen.
Right.
No, but I also have in front of me inspiration. I have on the side of me inspiration. I have, kind of set up areas where I can kind of look and remind myself of the why of what I'm doing on a daily basis. And these
Yeah.
two projects that are behind me are absolutely, for each in their own right,
Yeah.
huge reasons of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. 100%. Awesome. Well, so what do you want people to know about Chaatrik? How can they learn more about you? What are like some of your ideal projects? What can we leave them with, so that those who need to be inspired with beauty and excellence can find you?
So chaatrik.com, CHAATRIK.com. We do everything from residential to retail to hospitality, restaurants, warehouse. I mean, whatever it is, we can do it, and we have. And so I usually don't say no to projects. Like whatever comes our way, I'm happy to do it, and we have the team to knock it out and do it well. So happy to talk with anybody who would like. We have something called Ask the Expert on our website. So if you're just interested in a quick design consultation, need a little bit of advice for your project, happy to jump on a phone call for you. And then obviously we have the processes in place for a project moving forward. One thing that we should know about who we are is the Chaatrik. It all comes down to the name, frankly. And the Chaatrik was a songbird in Eastern mythology, comes from the Sikh tradition as well. A songbird that had a hole in its beak, allowing it to sing uniquely, distinctly, unlike any other bird. But it also then can't drink water like the other birds from the ground. And so it says it's soaring in the sky throughout its life, singing longfully, mournfully for just one drop of rain from above. And in that same way, we should always be striving for excellence. We should always be looking above for inspiration, not be satisfied with the everyday and pushing for absolute excellence. That is the Chaatrik way, and that's what we do.
Awesome. 100%. And I have seen it for 2 years, the unique way in which you guys work. You are definitely unique like the songbird. So the name is 100% fitting for you guys. Well, Jai Paul, thank you for being my guest. I love just having the opportunity for people to kind of get an inside perspective on the relationship between a coach and a business owner, and kind of what the experience has been like. So I appreciate you sharing that with me and the audience. I will drop a link to your business in the comments in Facebook as well. And then again, if anybody had any questions or watches this as a replay and has questions, please feel free to, just tag me, tag Jai Paul, and we'll make sure that all those get answered. So Thanks for being here today. And like always, I'm going to wish everyone to have a very productive day.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.